The whole AI OFM crap is so BS to me. I really do. Like, it's to the point where I'm seeing loads of guys that are purporting AI OFM. Like, they're like, do AI OFM or do AI. I don't even think it's called OFM, but I think that's like the key word for it. But it's all typically ran through fan creator or fan view or some other platform, and the platform kind of has monopolized the entire industry, where they have like the most powerful tool when it comes to creating these like AI creators, and so they're selling the creators and they're making a lot of money. Rumor, all alleged, or all this is allegedly, they're making about $1.5 million a month from selling these creators. And I see a lot of these guys that are starting to get like within that MLM side of things, or they're like posting about AI OFM and then pushing everybody into that platform, because then they're getting a massive compensation, because some of these creators that they're paying for, these fake creators, are they're paying like $3,000 to $5,000 a month for, or not a month, but $3,000 to $5,000 for. And what's funny is like this is all AI generated content. So like here's kind of like the structure. I don't know the exact platform name, but you'll see it. But anyway, it's like you guys need to start doing AI OFM because it's taken over, whatever. Check the link in my bio to buy a model, right? It's always buy a model. That's the thing. There's a few guys out there that are like kind of showcasing the marketing for it and like actually running traffic to these creators. But at the same time, there's pros and cons to the whole thing, like pretty big pros and cons, to be honest. So one, I don't know anybody who's actually making money coming from AI OFM. No, I'm not saying that to like hold a lot of weight on your heart and be like, oh, well, if Hunter hasn't seen it, then no, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying I cannot confirm or deny if anybody's even making any money from the AI OFM stuff. It's a pretty big buzzword. You got to understand that markets, there's what's known as a market cycle. And it's when somebody takes an original concept and you simply shift the idea, but the concept is still the same. So for an example, SMMA, social media marketing agency. This was very common and it was very popular. But then the term starts to die down. So what happens is people create a unique mechanism to the same idea. You'll now hear SMMA be called growth operating, okay? It's the same thing as SMMA, but if you give it a unique mechanism, a unique way of saying it, then people tend to gravitate towards the new way because they think it's new, right? And so I think that's kind of what's happening with the AI OFM stuff, because I do see some massive pros, but I also do see some like even bigger cons. I mean, one thing you need to understand is as AI starts to get more powerful, the more valuable a real human becomes, okay? I mean, I think that's very common sense, okay? So as AI becomes more relevant in our day-to-day lives, the more valuable a regular human being becomes. So you can create all this content that you want in the world and you can distribute it, and that's great and all. I mean, that there's nothing wrong with that in and of itself. You can create content and you can distribute it. But the problem is OFM in and of itself is already one of the only platforms that is cracking down on, or that every social media is cracking down on, right? And so we're battling these trillion-dollar companies trying to keep our own business alive. And it's one of the only industries in the world. And that's one of the things I don't like about OFM to begin with. But with that, we already see social media platforms cracking down on the AI OFM stuff, or the AI stuff. They don't want you just posting AI content all of the time, right? They want real organic content. And so there's people that are getting away with it, but then there's also people that are getting their page taken down. So what's going to happen is, like, in the future, social media algorithms are going to be so powerful that they're going to be able to detect that your content is AI, and they're going to shut you down, right? Because realistically, the only way that you can make this profitable and work is on Instagram. Okay, there's going to be a point in time where they can make videos and they can speak and they can talk, but that is only good. You got to understand, like, a creator being able to speak and talk is only actually beneficial for organic social media content. To some degree, possibly running advertisements as well, but that in and of itself doesn't hold enough weight to make AI OFM like popular. You got to ask yourself, why is AI OFM popular right now? Well, it's because a lot of these agencies are having struggles with real creators making all the content that they need. So it's like, okay, AI OFM is cool because it can create one type of content. It can create Instagram Reels, which is cool. But in these Instagram Reels, they don't really look, like, they look real. I'm not gonna lie, they look absolutely real, but they don't give you any sense of unique content, which is what these social media platforms are pushing towards. They want unique and new and creative content that's being distributed to the platform, which AI OFM is not. It's literally posting the same Instagram reel over and over and over. Now, when it comes to like the actual content side of things, I see where there's like the pro is, if I can subscribe to Sarah, and Sarah's, too scared to put more than one. I'm not going to say all that, but I subscribe to a real person, Sarah, and she's too scared to do certain things, right? Then you have that AI where you can have tremendously more explicit content because you can generate whatever it is that that person wants. Now, one thing I don't even understand is like, do the guys enjoy the content because they know it's AI and like they have that fetish, or are the guys that are subscribing to it, do they not even know that it's AI? I don't know what that is, and I think that's going to hold a magnitude on my decision making within this whole thing. Is like, do they know? If they know, you got to understand that then it's fetish, okay? And I think the platform has a lot. I think the AI OFM stuff honestly has a larger degree of success possibility if the guys who are subscribing know that it's AI, because then it's just a fetish. And we got to understand is like there's a lot of markets inside of the OFM industry that are only popular because the fetish side of things, right? So you have like OF, and like you have the ideal customer who is somebody who has a parasocial relationship with the creator to some degree in one way, shape, or form, whether through YouTube, Instagram, social media, whatever it may be. But then over a long enough time, this person starts to become chronically addicted to the whole thing. And what he used to like is now no longer enough to stimulate him. So now he is grasping onto a more depth, like a deeper side of the market, if you will. And so that's why we see some of the industries a lot, like the trans side of things, perform so well because it's not a niche, it's a fetish. And so you take regular humans and regular guys, you blast them with enough of this explicit content, and soon they end up down here, right? And so anyway, the point I'm trying to make is like AIOFM has its pros, okay? It has its pros. You have that ability if it's a niche or if it's a fetish, okay? If you're trying to claim that this is real, and if the idea is we need to make this look so incredibly real and the guys don't even know that it's not real, then all it does is actually make real content more valuable. There's going to be a certain degree of things that just cannot be faked, right? I mean, not in the short term anyway. In the long term, I think that there's going to be a lot of things that are able to be made. I mean, you got to understand, like full blown like scripts, those are things that are a ways away. I think there are people who are working on it, and it will come. And I think when that comes, I think there's going to be a large shift where the AI side of things actually becomes a little bit relevant. But then you need to understand, as that grows and gets bigger, so does the regular content, because it's a real human being. Right now, you're really limited on the marketing acquisitions that you can use on the AI side of things. Social media is going to be cracking down on these platforms, and it's going to be really difficult to even market them because they're not real human beings. There's only so many marketing acquisitions that you can use with them. You got to also understand that the idea of paying for corn is something that OnlyFans like revolutionized, right? Corn is free. It's free. But people pay for corn because the parasocial relationship, right? And initially sparked the interest in, I'm willing to pay because it's this person. That is like the fundamental of the whole thing. And you gotta understand that like all these other platforms that are creating these, unique spins on it are still always gonna fall behind the original idea. I guess what I'm trying to say is like, there are pros and cons to both sides, AIOFM and then regular. But at the end of the day, as AI gets bigger, regular content still becomes more valuable, and there's never gonna be a reason to never just use real versus fake. Never in any industry would that make more sense to do that, okay? Like I'm valuable because I am who I am. This is not valuable because that's not a real person. You get what I mean? And one thing you gotta understand is I like to look at things and like $10 million ideas, $100 million ideas. I don't care for like an extra 20 grand a month. We have people that are inside of our OFM licensing group that are doing 20, 30, 40, 50K a month with AI OFM. So when I say I don't know anybody making money from it, I mean like real money. Like I know there's some kids are like making 10 grand a month from AI OFM. I don't care about 10 grand a month. That's nothing, right? And so when I look at like big picture, you gotta understand, I'm looking at like a big picture, 10 million, 20 million, 50 million, $100 million. Okay, and like the money is in actually the creation of the AIs. The money is not in the actual marketing of the platform, like in selling content. The money is in is in the creation of it and then the distribution and then selling this proprietary technology, right? That's where the actual money is. But to some extension, I mean, you could say like that's how OFM is as well. Like OnlyFans, where the really like the real money is and whatnot. But I think the whole thing is just a buzzword. I don't know too many people that are making serious money from it. I know some. There's rumors about one of these Instagram pages has like 3 or 4 million Instagram followers. They made like a couple $100,000 a month for a while. I mean, that's still not real money to me. Anyway, you know what I mean? You're not building a long-term, real personal brand with anything. You're not building anything that's like long-term sustainable. So if you're not building that, like, what's the point? You get what I mean? Like, if there is like, I'm gonna start doing this because it can make me quick returns, but in like 6 months from now, like my creator becomes obsolete because whether it becomes it's no longer valuable or because I just can't do anything new with it. I'm just posting this same Instagram content over and over and over. I don't understand like why you would build, you know, on that infrastructure if there's no like real innate value. I mean, with at least a real person, you can scale a creator, develop a personal brand. Since, I mean, considering your core marketing right now is going to be through like organic reels, right? Or even running follow and follow or something. But a lot of these platforms that you're marketing these, AI creators on, you don't need. This is a great point. A lot of these platforms that you are creating or marketing with, if they're not Instagram Reels, because remember, Instagram Reels is the pro of this because they can pump so many Instagram Reels. What happens when Instagram Reels just no longer is hitting like it used to? Okay, then you're gonna fall back to fundamental marketing acquisitions, okay? Now, if you fall back to fundamental marketing acquisitions, regardless, it didn't require the creator at all anyway. You get what I mean? Like, in no way, shape, and form, as soon as Instagram starts to taper down with the AI stuff, a fundamental marketing acquisition didn't require the real person to do anything anyway. So now you just spent $6,000 on this AI generated model, or you're generating them yourself, and you're getting the same outcome as you would if you just had a regular person. But if you had a regular person anyway, at least you have the flexibility of developing a real personal brand with. I know most of you people won't do that, and that's not like what I'm getting at, but there's no pro to it is what I'm getting. The pro is the ability to mass generate content, but that's just a downhill spiral. The pro is like being the one who's distributing and creating the content and selling it, you know, as like digital products. But anyway, I know a lot of you guys are seeing a lot of this AI OFM stuff, and I don't want you to feel like you're missing out. It's very similar to when we had the digital real estate in the VR headphones or the VR headset or whatever in the NFTs. It's a very similar like shift in the market, but you gotta understand, like, it's not like a massive chunk of the market, and it's not like where the big money is. I mean, Lil Tay, for an example, just released her account and she did like $1 million in 24 hours. There's no AI OFM. There's no AI creator that's doing that. And you get what I mean? Like there are real things that generate real generational wealth, and then there's things that just make you quick, fast money. I guess like the question is like for you, like, do you want just quick, fast money, or do you want like, you know, real? Do you want to develop a real business, a real company? I don't know. These are just kind of my thoughts and whatnot. But on that, I'll kind of leave it at this, and I'll see you guys in the next video.